Yeah, Paya will still want to. Ultimately, you want the place at open 3 just simply because you want to get to open 3 and win the money, right? Like, you know, there's a lot of money on the line of these open events. I certainly wouldn't want to be missing one as a professional Gwent pro. And just waiting. I can hear noises in the background. Does that mean... no, okay, it is fine.
Great.
It is behaving, it is good, and it is Squire for REDRAME with a very tasty looking opening hand. Paya takes Nilfgaard.
Alright, so Nilfgaard as an obvious red coin choice to counter Northern Realms. REDRAME going straight for the Square tile matchup. Does draw Saskia, Lionheart. Does draw Saskia.
And the scenario. Why? You know what? Talent prevails. If you find the Saskia, you usually, if not always, thin well enough to find the other things anyway. So between finding Saskia and Decree, I guess he's pretty confident that he's going to do those things into round 1. And the Harmony engines in round 1 with the stratagem can work. I am not here to question REDRAME or his deck choices. Clearly he knows what he's doing or he wouldn't be where he is. And good to see he's drawn them, that the gamble has paid off.
Absolutely, and we see Rune Mage coming down immediately, creating more options for all the other cards that have options. Gets a Blightmaker. Interesting, as I don't think... Is that something that's being run in this deck? No, it's not.
Yeah, so Brathens instead will have been moved to the top, I would wager, as it is the mage of choice that you are guaranteeing now for Paya you can find. You know there's no risk. It's not going to be the case that it's going to be stolen or swapped or any of that nonsense. So you're pretty safe just to play that as setup. It is also, of course, another 7 points, which is pretty good. Rame here now, just taking his time, weighing up his options, working out what is it I want to do exactly. How do I want to deal with this?
We see Antherian being played onto the board. Seems to be a common card to start with in this specific Square tile list.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, it makes sense. Antherian's such an amazing card. One of my favorites from the last card drop. It's effectively double Harmony, but split across multiple units can feel really good. Slow, potentially, but really snowballs in a way that engines tend to do. I'm a big fan of the way that works. It also helps you generate even more carryover because it's Harmony on 2 cards for the Owl as well, which feels nice.
And you can already see that potential set up for Triss. It's going to play for a lot of points currently with the Rainfreeze gang, each getting 3 points as a boost. Pretty big base cards right there. So that's something REDRAME is definitely going to be taking into account going forward here. He might need to commit a little bit more if he wants to take this round.
Yeah, definitely something he needs to consider. And he's certainly not going to want to lose this on even. Paya, with access to that Triss and that Heat Wave, is going to feel pretty happy. Didn't see Rame use the Antherian there. And you hate to see one of those witches come out. They're so valuable. Especially in a matchup like this, one of those easily could have traded for 11 or 12 quite comfortably. Even more when there's row stacking going on. If something was tall enough, it doesn't, hence the 11 or 12. But a bit of a shame. Still does proc the solitary... Oh no, it doesn't proc the Harmony because it's on board.
That's the problem. That is the problem. So now witches will not proc Harmony. Yeah, I can see REDRAME isn't exactly clicking his cards just yet. I believe PAJABOL just has the option of locking... Yeah, exactly, of locking them when it is clicked anyway. Ooh, that's a great play.
Great value. Yeah, really nice. And Nickers jumps out to the melee row as well. For Paya, he's far enough ahead that he doesn't have to concern himself with committing the Triss necessarily. Rame now, he's hovering that scenario. No, okay.
I would hope not.
Got a couple of this. Yeah, he doesn't need to play too speedily here. We're still very early on into the round. He's absolutely fine to just take his time here. He doesn't need to be ahead. There's no erudite issue on either side, but you're constantly worrying, I need to put reach between myself. Yes, he's the blue coin player, but the odds of Paya passing here, he knows are low to 0, because Paya will want to keep going, so instead, just develops his engines feeling safe to do so.
Yeah, it's rather slow here for Rame. It's not going to be enough to get ahead. It's not going to be, especially looking at PAJABOL's hand right now. He is sitting on quite a bit. He can get some cards with Arturius Vigo, Duchess Informant. He has Triss. I see no reason not to use Triss to get ahead in round 1. Just take it from there. Doesn't have to commit it just yet, but it's certainly going to be played sooner or later, I guarantee you.
He has, yeah, certainly he has the option to. If he needs to win this on even, he will be willing to. If he can get away without doing it and just keep committing bronzes, he will be far, far happier doing that. It gets awkward here for REDRAME now. Not playing the Owl, not playing the Harmony scenario, and has got a couple of other options not amazing here. A Purify, which is okay, but useless right now. And then a Witcher that, of course, will proc the Saskia as well, so you've got to be considerate of that. You may end up having to move the far Renfri's gang, completely kill it, and then use another leader charge on something like that Blightmaker to then not lose your Milva. But it's a lot of points, certainly an option.
Yeah, it really depends if you actually stand a chance here at this point. Rame has to calculate whether he does. Saskia...
I think he can. I think the Saskia pull plus the Witcher would be my play here. I'd delete the Renfri's gang. I'd use a leader charge. That's trading for 9. That's trading for 14, plus then the pull as well. He's ahead probably by 10 plus points by the end of this turn. His decision... He's holding on and not clicking on the Abandoned Girl. I thought he would have clicked this Abandoned Girl here, just on the basis that it prevents a Dryad being pulled out, doesn't lose some of his poison package, and he gains nothing from it other than that, but I feel like that might be worth doing.
There we go.
That's exactly what I thought we would see. Got to see the leader charge, perfect. Also denies a lot of value from the Triss here. Is he going to click at least one of these for the extra point?
I would hope so. I would hope so. At this point...
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And this is what... So that's what I was worried about. If he clicks the Abandoned Girl... okay, maybe he pulls another Abandoned Girl, doesn't find a Harmony engine, because he does want to find Harmony engines to keep building this Owl up. But, yeah, the Abandoned Girl there just not the best as an Abandoned Girl, and it would have prevented that. Could have given him the chance. Poison not so huge in this matchup, but we've seen Brathens get to 12, 13, 14, as well as the soldiers get to silly numbers, so having it as an option, not terrible going into one of those other rounds.
Yeah, it's certainly not bad at all. I think PAJABOL now is weighing up whether he actually needs to commit something like Triss just yet, or if he can keep on playing other cards and stay ahead. I do believe he's able to do so with Arturia's Vigo. That 7 does look juicy, but he can potentially... does he have any targets for that slave driver is the question.
He does, because he can create himself one of those and then convert the slave driver that he just created. Okay, he converts the Assimilate engine instead. He's literally saying... That's really cute from PAJABOL, because he is saying, I am going to play Triss next turn. You need to go away here, because I am going to get ahead on even here. The beauty, because he leaves the leader charge as well. He doesn't lock him in, but he doesn't have to use it because the gap's so small, and he can literally just drop a bronze card to win from this position potentially. That's really awkward for REDRAME. Really awkward for REDRAME. He does have the option, of course, of leader charging, removing something, but doesn't have too many other answers. Could consider double leader, delete maybe 2 of those options, and then use Simless and try and delete even more, but it's so aggressive. Instead, he plays slowly.
And we see the Abandoned Girl finally being clicked. I mean, he could think, well, PAJABOL, you're probably bluffing, perhaps. He's not there. He's not bluffing, and we're gonna see him getting ahead here with quite a bit of points. I'm curious to see...
REDRAME,
yeah, what does REDRAME do here?
The Simless does help. If he plays the Simless right now and plays everything onto the back row, he could have waited on a single Saskia pull again. Instead, he just says, okay, farewell.
Makes sense. There's no catching up after that. Yeah, rather awkward here for Rame. Even Saskia wasn't exactly enough to get him ahead with Triss. I see more and more how Triss is being used in round 1 to get round control, which makes absolute sense in all honesty. Especially if you draw into all your big base cards at the start of the game. Now, we're gonna see PAJABOL potentially bleeding out this artifact. I could see that being the case.
Yeah, very much so. Although he is very happy into a long round as well. He has got the ability to try and bleed it out. He's got a leader charge remaining here. And he can just play nice and slowly, having one on even, to try and find the value that he's looking for.
Yeah, I think we're gonna see PAJABOL just doing a little soft bleed here, seeing what he can get from REDRAME. Nice. Already we see that leader being used. And a chameleon.
I don't hate the chameleon, because it does play for some carryover. He is ahead, might bait the lock, which it does in the end. So you got a little bit of carryover from it. It kept you ahead anyway. You know you weren't going to keep it for too long in this round. You don't want this round to be going forever, honestly. The big thing for Rame, he hasn't found Waters of Broccolon, can't find Waters of Broccolon either in his list, no Neromancy.
Rainfree being pulled out. What are we gonna see here?
Sloth. Okay, so Sloth exists, which is pretty good. Okay. And he finds the ping, but takes Sloth and, of course, play between evens and odds as well. That tends to be for the long. If you've got a long period of time, it'd be a little while, right?
Yeah, I think it's a good choice, though. It's certainly a good choice. They all tend to go for that option, specifically where you have this passive ability of cards just getting extra points every time they're played on the board. So I quite like to see it. REDRAME now has a handful of golds. He is going to start having to commit some things he might not want to commit yet.
Maybe. I don't hate Simless, honestly. I don't hate playing Simless. It thins your deck, you're taking carryover, but you're putting that carryover in your hand as well.
That is true, but instead we're going to see the Weeping Willow coming out there.
Okay. Again, it keeps him ahead. He's challenging to see what do you still have. No Igni, that was mulliganed away, and does still just sit in the deck, I believe.
Yeah, I think you really want to hold on to the potential of having 2 Bountiful Harvests in one turn, but as you said, it could brick if you accidentally draw into those. Oh, and you just see that
I'd want to be using it, honestly.
Yeah, PAJABOL is going for a surprise bleed here that might turn into a 2-0. I think that's sort of what he's going for here. Just slowly pushing more and more. Still has the leader ability as well. I could see him using it this round.
I could see him using the Scenario right now. I think Scenario is playing for on deploy 8 or 9, and then he also then chooses to click the Weeping Willow to stay ahead.
Very nicely done. Yeah.
He's got to stay ahead when he commits that Scenario. With the things now on board, he's looking at it thinking, this might be my last opportunity to do this. I don't hate that. Okay. The Ramon here in hand is pretty nice, but you don't really want to create a copy of any of these. In fact, you can't. You can. No, you can. It creates a locked copy of golds as well. My apologies. Does keep him ahead. There's no reason to click that himself. His own chameleon, obviously, because he's not going to gain any harmony value. He's just hurting himself by a point a turn if he does that.
We see Royal Decree being used. Ooh, a few options. Depends how much you want to commit. It's not the Percival.
No, that's really, really brave from REDRAME.
Yeah.
He believes the 2 cards in his hand definitely win him this round if he has to play them, and is holding the Percival by choice. I think it is correct, and I don't actually think it's too bad to have decided to do that, but it is kind of brave, right? Because there were better options for your decree than this. He could have ended up hurting himself by making that decision.
Yeah, you see it more and more with players sort of holding on to the potential round 3, rather. I think he knows he can technically get ahead here with the cards he has in hand. Simlas is going to do a lot of work if he plays it now. It's not necessarily a priority to have Percival on the board.
No, definitely not. Unless he chooses not to. As you mentioned, he does, oh my god. He decides to proc the Scenario, basically saying you're going to go away here. It gives the Owl You notice Pyre also didn't play the Ramon. He has a 4-point brick in hand right now. He's never going to play that card. So Rame is already far enough ahead. Has to now dodge the triple brick. REDRAME has decided to hold on to this because he has Milva in deck and the only 2 targets for Simless. This is really, really brave from REDRAME.
Ooh, okay.
He could draw all 3 of them and then he's guaranteed a brick because he's only got 2 mulligans. This is interesting.
Well, I mean, it's the same reason he decided to hopefully draw into Saskia rather than guarantee. It was a stratagem.
There's one.
Oh gosh, come on,
these
Rame.
mulligans are going to be absolutely agonizing. Okay, he's got his 2 mulligans, but if he draws Milva...
Ooh, Percival coming in clutch. And Milva as well. Well.
It was always going to be risky. It was always going to be difficult. That Milva is in fact, is a 0. That Milva is a 0-point card because she would have been with you anyway. Really, really not great. Not great at all there. But if you've got 8 cards and you're seeing 3 of them, honestly, there was an element of risk there in this. But we see the Simless could come out and give you a little bit more value. Oh, okay.
We've got some potential cards here that could play for some value. I mean, you like to see it. You can even use you can use your own leader ability on your card to increase the chances of getting another bountiful harvest.
Yeah, it's a possibility. Something you can definitely do. Okay. This, it's such a shame. That 0-point Milva here is really, really unfortunate for REDRAME. But the odds were, it was a pretty good chance that you were going to see them, right? It's always a risk. And decided the overall value of the Simless in the short round, because that Owl hadn't grown so much, was definitely worth doing. Didn't want to commit both and figured the Owl, because it procced, made sense. Also can still see the leader ability sat here for Pyre as well. This is looking pretty good for him in the final 2 cards.
It's looking excellent for Pyre right now. I mean, yeah, he is basically guaranteed to take this one.
It's looking certainly very positive for him. He could decide to leader charge himself here onto his own sorcerers, turn it into a 6, as you say, try and get absolute max value from this. Instead, he holds both of them, which is curious. Because now, Pyre could just lock it, honestly, using that slave driver. Doesn't need to, though.
What are we looking at here? Are we trying to get Milva to kill something, potentially? Or are we giving up on that hope?
I think you don't want Milva to kill anything anyway. It'd lose the points, right? That it found. And I think, honestly, I think he's pretty aware that that is all she wrote. Didn't even use the leader charge on his own side there to try and improve his options slightly, because it didn't really make a difference when it came down to it. I think he knew that with the leader charge, the brick was a little unfortunate. But that is just game 1. It is only game 1. It doesn't matter. It's there's plenty more. And yeah, holds the leader ability.
Doesn't even need to use it. Yeah, that is PAJABOL's game. Okay. Taking Squirtle through on... No. Taking Nilfgaard through on Red Coin. Very nicely done. That is right. Yeah, good game.
That is right. Now we flip. Oh, I'm not sure if it would have made a difference if he manages to retain the other option instead. Because if he plays the Simless into that round, he guarantees himself no bricks. And all of that carryover would have gone on to the Owl. The Owl itself was already at 8, would have been at 9, 10, 11, 12. So it would have been a 13 forward, maybe up to a 16-point Owl going into that round 3.
Yeah.
So would probably have played for more value anyway, but he's worrying about the Igni, I'm assuming, right? He's kind of concerned that it could still happen, it could still burn him, and the Owl is more likely to give that and feed that value. Ultimately, it's a 50-50 decision at that point, and he's worried that if he commits the Simless and it doesn't roll well enough, he could end up having to play both. He knew the Owl in round 2 was going to keep his card, so it's why he's made the choice. So it's one of those things, right?
Yeah, I mean, there were a lot of decision-making factors in that game that REDRAME did consider. But yeah, at the end, it simply wasn't enough. Yeah, Paya won that one by far. I guess losing round one is never ideal. If you have to be bled in
Uneven
round
as
two.
well, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's not where you want to be, and Triss really has the potential to like gain the reach you need to get ahead, which seems to be a reoccurring factor here with Nilfgaard. I might have to try it out myself again on ladder. It
Definitely.
appears to be extremely good. But now we have PAJABOL going through on blue. He has his Nilfgaard list taken through. Obvious choice would be Northern Realms, right? The obvious choice
Northern
would
Realms
be...
or Square, but yeah, he can take either one of the two of them. He knows he's pretty likely to be facing off against REDRAME's Nilfgaard list here. It feels like the logical choice, albeit, hey, we have seen all kinds of crazy things, and Rame could very happily just re-queue that Guerrilla Tactics list and say, I want to get this through.
Yeah.
My stratagem isn't key to my play here, and I actually think his ST list is a versatile list, a little bit more so than the other players. So very much an option for him as well.
Absolutely. I liked seeing a little bit of variety, though, seeing that it's not just pure mirror matches at this point. It's interesting to see how certain cards can make a little effect, a little difference, like the stratagem, for example. Not that it had a real effect on Rame's game at all. I'm curious to see if he plays Squirta again, whether we will see a round one hand without the crucial cards like Saskia. Yeah, apparently that doesn't happen enough to include it, though.
No, and again, if he goes in on red coin, at least he knows he's not losing on even, and it's a safe decision to miss them in round one, and then either resist the bleed very effectively using something like a Saskia. That kind of option does exist then. It's a little bit less scary. But yeah, they're just regrouping here, working out what they want to do, how they want to play. I could honestly see it making sense to play the Scoia'tael list again. He might just go Nilfgaard. Paya probably wants his NR list here.
I would hope so. Honestly, I would hope so, especially since Erendite's a thing. I can't stress enough how it bothers me when Erendite is just bricked off the bat because of a red coin choice. But I get it. I get it. You don't want to go against certain lists when you are playing Northern Realms, and obviously Rame is going to be aware of the fact that PAJABOL might be queuing it. We'll see now in a few seconds.
Maybe. I mean, Paya's lists, and Paya's NR particularly, has a better chance of getting through REDRAME's decks than it did through Captain's decks, because REDRAME isn't running any heat waves, which can be really, really awkward. And we see instead Rame on red coin takes his NR list. He was expecting the mirror. REDRAME was trying to snipe the NR mirror. I'm pretty sure he wants it, and he wanted it from red coin. Paya has subverted expectations here and has decided to go for Scoia. But it could still come down to, can you get the NR list through for both players? This isn't a terrible spot for REDRAME to be in when he can be potentially quite aggressive into this round, especially with a hand like that, has access to all three of his Echo cards, probably want to be mulliganing away that Erendite early on.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That Erendite is going to look very bad unless REDRAME can do a lot of points in a short turn. I mean, REDRAME has been known to do some crazy things as well, so I'm very curious to see how he goes about the standard matchup. PAJABOL placing Percival on the board right away, 2-point Harmony Engine. A great way to start off, honestly, especially when nothing can really lock it or get rid of it. So it's pretty much unattested value at this point.
Yeah, and it's to be able to start with that, knowing what your opponent is running, is a really nice feeling here. As we see Lady of the Lake, probably a Nero, got to be for those Immortals, right?
Yes.
You would imagine.
Ooh,
is how I would be
card.
opening this up. And it is.
I love seeing that random mage there. It's beautiful.
Cheeky bit of Gerhardt. Yeah, it's a really interesting choice to take the Gerhardt over the Heatwave. I'd love to know why Rame felt that was the way to go. Very, very curious.
Because nobody expects it. I bet that's it.
Maybe, honestly.
Yeah, some players just love the surprise factor. We see that beautiful engine on the board right now, 4 points a turn. That is, if it does not get poisoned. It will not get poisoned. Instead, it's just moved to a different row. And
Yeah,
now
the
it's...
movement now is 50% of that is gone now. You can it'll
Yes.
still spawn a shield, but it won't boost.
Yes, so half the engine value right there. Okay, Rame needs to take this into account. I bet you probably want to be playing another engine on the board. Which one do you go with, though? Ventalum is a pretty nice one. It does 2 points a turn. Obviously, if it retains its shield, which it will with the Grace ability.
Yeah, but definitely a possibility can run here. Doesn't want to be dropping that Pella, as he's not needing to defend himself against poison. He knows already. Takes the AA, really wants to be ticking himself ahead every single turn here. Not surprised to see that at all. And this will be really nice for him, because if he can get the Grace ability off from that Knight Errant, it effectively, the ability that it imparts and infuses, is basically Immortal's own ability. Boost self by 2 every time you lose a shield. So it will just turn that back on. It would have been better on the front row, because then it would have been 6 points a turn, but it is literally 1 boosted card away on the other side of it from giving it that option, which would be really, really nice for REDRAME. Big points, though, being dropped by Pyre. He has now managed to find himself multiple Harmony engines and also a Chameleon. Not only is he playing good engine value in this round, he is also building a lot of Harmony on that Owl if he finds it. That has been the bane and the decision-making choice for both him and Rame in the previous game. Will the Owl come through this time?
I hope it will. I hope it will. I love to see a tall owl. It's such a majestic creature. But I really can't get over that Knight Errant play. It's actually really well done, having that Immortals just doing its own thing over and over again, now that it is infused with the +2 ability every time it loses a shield. I never thought about doing that myself. I quite like it.
It's a really nice play. It effectively just switches it back on, and you can now see there is a huge engine value on either side, both of which, or almost all of which, is active, but REDRAME's engine's much scarier for me. He has 4 points passively and another 4 points actively, whereas for Pyre, he has to keep playing cards outside of Saskia. If he plays a card, he's got 8 points easily, provided it procs Harmony. So it is scary, but he has to actually stay in the round to make them worth doing. If he wants to commit that second Chameleon, he can, and it will play for a lot of value here, but it also gives up that second Chameleon when we get to that point. This is sufficient for Rame to get ahead. Ooh, the leader's interesting. Decided to leader to guarantee he was ahead for the Erendite ping, but now REDRAME's leader is only boosting by 4. He has to be very careful not to use it again, because otherwise it will not be enough for Maiden Shield.
Exactly. It's very crucial when you have to decide when to use that leader ability, as certain cards need to be boosted by a certain amount, or else they simply get killed real quick, or locked, or poisoned, or anything else that prevents them from reaching Grace. So he now has 4 left on that leader, and has to be careful where he intends on using it. Yeah, very nice. Okay, so gets the Vitality on the card. And
yeah, the Vitality doesn't give you the Grace, though. The Grace is at 6, which is a little frustrating for this card still.
Yeah.
The fact that it did get a buff so that it's usable on either row is nice, as a lot of these cards want to be played range row, because some of the other Knights with Grace have their ability on the range row. Look at the number of points this is.
It's crazy. It is crazy. PAJABOL's saying you're not getting this round. It's not happening. And we can see it's not happening. The thing is, Rame would probably like to play Vandergrift. Oh, he's like, I don't care. It's happening. We're going.
Oh, which is nice here, because if anything, he's also going to secondarily infuse that now. So now the Immortals will gain 4 points when it loses a shield. But look at the gap. There is still nearly 20 points needed. The difference this time, Rame can get 6 points by clicking 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Before he plays a card, he has 13 more points than it looks like.
PAJABOL is now in a situation where there's no way he's playing Simlas or his artifact, but he doesn't need to.
I think he could be convinced, but I think Rame has to pass here. Now the gap is 50+ points. That is so huge that even with 26 points of engine, The cards in his hand do not warrant it. The Vandergrift is playing solitarily for 6 here.
I want him to see. I want him to play it. I want Rame to do what Rame does. He has to.
If he has a better hand, he can. But even his leader charges don't help him here. Like he can't. He could click. What's he got? 1, 2,
do it, Rame.
3, 4, 5, 6.
Rame, do it. Do it.
12.
Yes. Do it, Rame.
Oh my god.
Yes, Rame. Okay. Get your Sumlas, Rame. Convince PAJABOL to play Sumlas, even though you know you're not getting ahead that easily.
I mean, if I'm PAJABOL, I'm out of here. If I am PAJABOL, I am out of here. Okay. I mean, yeah, I'm keck buying if I'm, because he still needs 33 points now. Passively, he has got 3, 4, so he's got 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. He's got 14 points passively, and he gains another 6 actively. So there's 20 of those points. Is he going to have to just jam his leader to do this, or is he playing both cards and praying?
I don't know what Rame thinks.
Triggers. Oh, Saskia triggers. I don't even know if both cards is enough for REDRAME here.
I mean, only REDRAME knows what REDRAME does, but his thinking is that of excellence. We can't comprehend it, you see. Interesting.
Also, that's not ideal, as it now can't regain either.
Okay, just for clarification, Rame can't actually hear me. Okay, no. Guys, I did not convince him to do that.
I don't think, because he's going to use his leader ability for the extra grace, right? So he plays this, he purifies this, he now has to use his leader ability here twice, and then he's okay. No, he's okay anyway. Now he can pass. Oh, okay. That was scary. I genuinely didn't think he was going to be able to get out there. That was so close with that Saskia. Wow. That was alarmingly close. He does have some carryover on the board, which means if he takes the pass, he's probably still not keeping his card in reality, but he had to use 2 charges of leader already. The leader is now only boosting by 3, which is really going to be difficult for him, I think.
Go for the 2-0, Rame. You got this.
Okay, the Erendite sitting at 5 doesn't feel amazing. Has access to the scenario. And there is that Gerhardt. I'm pretty sure Rame's out of here. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I am a fan of the push 2 cards down. I'm not sure it's worth it here. He's hovering. Oh, he's going to do it.
Rame, I think you should 2-0 Rame. Yeah, you should do it.
So he's got to be Maiden Shield then. Okay.
It's not Maiden Shield.
But Paya respecting the push very, very quickly. Paya is not... Yeah, to be fair, yeah, I should know this. Big Rame is going for it. Rame is pushing. Paya respects this, but also looking at his hand, honestly, what else is he supposed to play? This could be the patented Shinmiri soft push into Secret 2-0. No! And he doesn't click it either. He gives his... And he does get the final leader charge. Paya, again, Paya's now in a spot. Paya is now roles reversed into the position that REDRAME was in. He has got 3 leader charges. No, sorry, 3 cards drawing and 3 bricks. Okay, PAJABOL appears to be very talented. Because he has both of these and he has Milva. And he has to leave it alone. Okay, never mind, he's fine. He could have got rid of the Milva by using that offensively instead. Decided not to. No Milva? Did he finish Milva the game earlier? Wow.
Yeah, he...
That is some skill.
That is skill, but the problem here is Rame's not going to get that artifact for long. It's going to be Heatwave pretty quickly, yeah. I assume. Which does hurt, as that could have been a very nice artifact to have.
Yeah, if it sticks, he's in a great spot, right?
Yeah, it doesn't, though. I don't see a world in which PAJABOL allows it to survive.
No. And also, sadly, it doesn't keep Rame ahead either. That Erendite is sitting at a woeful 6 or 7 points. Yeah, world's quickest Heatwave. And even the next card now doesn't get Rame ahead again. This Erendite is just sitting. A Nero... okay. Now it's pretty nice. The Maiden Shield can still be proc with the leader here once.
The infuse.
It's already at 6.
It certainly
Yes.
helps, yes.
Yeah.
There we go. So that is basically guaranteed to get Grace if all goes well. Which isn't bad, especially if you can somehow manipulate that Erendite. You're still ahead now. Erendite is growing. If you can get Bronwyn to do her thing, you'd have to calculate it extremely carefully, but that could do quite a bit of points.
It is possible if he can. He's got one more turn. His final turn, maybe he's leaving Gerhardt on the board, knowing that Gerhardt doesn't die. Rolling one of the options at 5 to be a boost, going for double, 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 is a possibility. The damage here might end up scuppering some of this. Doesn't take the damage, does take the movement, though.
Interesting.
Okay.
I expect Gerhardt to be played next in order to try the Erendite with Bronwyn combo. It's not going to be easy to pull this off, though. It has to be carefully decided.
It is doable, though. If he plays he should be playing Gerhardt on the left-hand side as we look, so that there isn't value from the Witcher to kill it. And it actually makes that Witcher really bad. Obviously, we can see it, he can't, but he will know what's left. He will know what's left here. If he can play the Gerhardt and find maximum value in doubling, oh, this is going to be really... I don't think it matters realistically, simply because Owl, but...
Owl.
See, that's the biggest we've seen. We've seen a lot of the time, a lot of games not finding those chameleons at the right point. Oh, and he clicks.
This card takes me back. Ooh, now if we could have manipulated that with Bronwyn on the other hand, could have gone differently.
I suppose the boosts at 5 aren't as good, right?
Yeah.
The boosts at 5 aren't as good either way. So he can use the leader ability to proc this. He can now click and aim it at the lowest unit, which is fine. Kill the Simless. It is good value. It might just about catch him up even. It's not that... Okay, there was actually another point to be had if he killed the Simless there, so there was another 2. And he unbelievably, astronomically...
Oh no!
I think if he kills the Simless, he draws. I think if he kills the Simless, he draws.
No. I'm just saying oh no because of how that turned out, chat. I'm not biased. I'm Team Paya and REDRAME.
Okay, am I right? He kills a 3, giving himself 1 no, okay. I think so. If he hits the 2, he gets another point of boost, which is actually another 2 points of boost, and it's a draw.
I don't know, that all just felt so off to me. Oh gosh, I wish we could replay that real quick and analyze it. Shin, come in here. We need an analyst.
I think it's 2 more points because it had the Bronwyn boost, right? So it would have got the double value. Yeah, but he would have got the extra point. Each value point of the Erendite was worth 2 points on the boost because it had got the Bronwyn boost. 0 more points. Oh, good point. Yeah, okay, that's a fair shout. Yes, you get 1 more. Yeah, the Erendite.
And that's why Shinmiri is our analyst.
Is that the maths? Am I doing that maths wrong? Because each offensive point is the same, but each boosting point is doubled, right?
You feel there must have been a win there somewhere.
That was a heck of a series. I think that REDRAME does really well to get that to be even close. Honestly. Oh, it's the NR mirror.
Okay. Age-old question, chat. Is NR better on red in a mirror? Because this is what we've been told by the statistics. Yeah, okay? So we've got PAJABOL taking this on red. If he can take it through on red, then the question has been answered. We're going to see it right here, folks, in front of our very eyes. REDRAME taking it on blue. Interesting. He could have taken a lot on blue here.
He could have done. REDRAME taking this on blue. Remember, REDRAME doesn't run Heatwave, and PAJABOL does as well. Bear that in mind in this mirror. Paya does run Heatwave, REDRAME does not. Also, yes, Shinmiri was correct, which will surprise absolutely none of you. I thought, yeah, okay. Either way, maybe that was doable. And you know the other way that potentially... No, okay. It was... If he plays in the back row with... Instead of the front row, he doesn't get the value from the Witcher because the shield's in the way. Obviously, he can't guarantee that's the card, and it's such a niche, ridiculous level of interaction, right? Yeah. Leader as well with the Symbolist would have done it because he'd have found the extra value that way.
I feel like, yeah, if we go through that entire matchup step by step, we could find some plays that REDRAME could have done in order to take it. I'm pretty sure. Even with a little bit more grace in the end, could have made a huge difference with Bronwyn.
Honestly, yeah. The pairing the leader ability correctly as well, and he didn't use... Yeah, that was definitely winnable.
Agreed.
But there are so many decisions to make this quickly that it's completely understandable. We're already in the next game. We're in this NR mirror. And as you rightly pointed out, in my head, I would want to be the blue coin player here because the list traditionally favors blue coin. It's an engine list. It wants to push for 2-0. Yet, from all of the qualifiers we've seen, not just now, but also the last top 64 and the top 16 before that, it favors on red coin.
Sorceress, love to see it. I was thinking exactly that. Immediately change it into a 2 for 2. Each player gets 2 points every turn. That's it.
Yeah. 0.
Love to see it.
So it changes 4 points worth of engine for your opponent to being flat level. It's such a huge change. It's really awkward in the mirror to be playing these cards.
Yeah, looks awesome. Okay, so far we've got PAJABOL going with Immortals as a combo. He's now going to make use of the Grace ability once again in order to make sure that when the shield disappears, he still gets 2 points a turn, which is going to turn it back into an engine. So, yeah, curious to see that. REDRAME just going with the bronzes so far, played Amphibious Assault to get ahead. Remember, both players have... I believe REDRAME has Erendite. Both players have Erendite, so staying ahead is kind of crucial here because one Erendite is going to be turned into a brick whilst the other one is going to grow exponentially. Which, yeah, both players are definitely considering. Alright, so far REDRAME is taking it.
Ahead.
Because blue coin, again, also in my head, blue coin makes sense in a mirror, but I want to see PAJABOL prove me wrong and show how red coin beats blue coin in a mirror match with knights.
It's definitely curious because in my head that doesn't make sense. But when I looked at the stats, Lario put together, red coin won this mirror every time.
I know.
Qualifiers last time. So I'm very curious to see. I think Paya's list is favored in the mirror either way, if I'm being honest, simply because the heat wave exists for him and it doesn't for REDRAME.
Yeah.
And that is game winning. But there we go. It is currently 2-0 PAJABOL, right?
Yes, it is. This is PAJABOL's last list he has to take through to go to open number 3. So, yeah, if he can take this now, or if he can't, he still has 2 more games in order to do it.
And he's not going to be too bad. 2 times on red coin is awkward, but REDRAME doesn't run a single heat wave. So Paya will have been a little happier with facing REDRAME's lineup, in my opinion, than he would have Captain's. This is going to be very, very close here. Can REDRAME get on the board? And if he gets his NR through, unironically, if REDRAME can get his NR list through here, even though he's 2 down, he might be pretty happy with what's coming up, because then he can take his NG list through on red coin against it, and will feel pretty content that that could win. And then he's just got to get Squirtle through on a coin he'd prefer to be on. So this is not over. This could be a 3-0, but if REDRAME can get his NR list through here, I actually like his choice of taking it right now, even though it is the unfavor. Very, very curious.
By the way, I love that play with Paler, getting rid of the Infuse and the Shield on Immortals. Now, Immortals is, again, just sort of going to go even with the Sorceress. Yeah, good play with the Paler, in my opinion. Okay, we also see a Neuromancy, Tutoring, Amphibious Assault, getting both in the graveyard, so they are accessible in the next round. Oh, and
I remember a time, I don't know about you, where when we first started casting, I was worried about trying to keep up with the maths of certain engines, and I have just given up trying to keep up with the maths of certain engines right now. If you look at the board state for Paya, right now that is 6 passive points a turn, plus potentially up to 6 active points a turn. REDRAME is in a very similar... Like, I can't...
Whoa, what's
trying to do the maths on this at this point. It's just, how many points? Yes. Lots of them.
REDRAME, what are you doing, REDRAME? We have Gerard here coming down, not being used. Curious to see why.
He's looking for the reset and lock. He's looking for the reset and lock at 5. That's what he's looking for, right?
Yeah.
And he finds it. Artifact compression.
Damn.
Here we go. That is a lot of points. Very, very nice there on the click. And all of a sudden, he comes firing back into this round, I think.
I bet you,
nice.
I bet you dozens of players have never even encountered the patience meta and don't even know what that keyword means, how old this card is. But it does well. The longer you keep it on the board without clicking, the more strong the card options become, which is quite valuable. So now we're going to see Lady of the Lake going for a Neuromancy, also making it accessible in the next round.
Love this. Really nice.
Yes, getting some carryover. PAJABOL, on the other hand, does not have carryover.
No, and his hand all of a sudden looking slightly worse and worse. He could play the Pella himself now. You look at the point gap and you think that Lionheart's so many points, but it's not really. Because of the engines here, he is well within his reasonability to just keep playing bronzes and let that engine value carry him. That is absolutely huge here.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't really see any player just passing, though. I think it's really important to get round control in this sort of mirror match, and perhaps that's why Red Queen is favored. Perhaps they have the last say in just sort of getting ahead when they need to get ahead. At least that's my theory as of now. We'll see if that is the case. I mean, Rame doesn't have to pass necessarily. He still has 2 bronzes he can play, and so does PAJABOL.
Yeah, for me, the Mad Charge onto your Vandergrift would be quite nice. You're protecting it, but he takes the pass here. He decides the carryover is worth having. Any one of the bronze cards here is enough for Pyre to get ahead if he uses his...
Peller.
Yeah.
Are we going to see Peller coming down here to get rid of the resilience status?
Yep.
Yeah, that's going to hurt.
Ooh, placement though. I was going to say, he's fine either way because he gets an extra turn of it, but he does lose 2 points there. No, he doesn't actually, never mind. Didn't matter. The other engine isn't boosted either way, so he's fine.
Yeah.
I forgot the Immortals wasn't boosted. No, he's fine. And
Immortals
no carryover.
What was that?
Okay. Oh, and he finds the heat wave. Oh. Okay. Right now, Pyre has round control. Oh, that hand is agonizing. That PAJABOL hand right now is petrifying. And he doesn't even breathe, he doesn't even blink, and he jams his scenario on the board, which is going to force REDRAME to do exactly the same thing, you'd imagine, because he cannot afford to slow roll this. He has to just go, right?
Yeah, that's getting heat waved immediately. Oh, that hurts. See, I feel like this doesn't count as a real mirror match when both players don't have heat wave. You know, it's a
tech choice.
Yeah.
It is a tech choice.
That's the thing. Is this a 3-0? I mean, let's not count our chickens before it has hatched. But it doesn't look amazing.
Time.
Yeah, let's see. Rame still has an extra card. Don't forget that. Okay.
Takes his maiden shield here. It's up at 6. He can leader charge it, but decides not to and just stays ahead. He wants to keep the value of his leader as long as possible. He knows there is nothing that can hurt that now. Ooh.
Okay, Redanian Knight coming down there. Just 2 bronzes doing their thing. Having fun. Okay, Ventalum coming down as well. A 2-point engine at the moment. Not bad. Okay, this is gonna hurt.
It's gonna hurt a lot. It's a lot of value here. But still very doable. The leader is +4 for REDRAME, so he can't use it yet. He could use that special as a Mad Charge and then leader in order to get the value on the Bronwyn. I don't even know if that gets him ahead right now. It does not. But the second AA would. Is Pyre going to go for the kill here? I think he has to. I don't think he's got anything left in deck. He's got his Erendite and his carryover. His Erendite is at 8. Takes the carryover instead, saying, you know what, whichever way we go here, Does he lead a charge? Does Pyre lead a here?
I mean, it would be gorgeous if he did.
He does. He does, but kills his leader to do so, saying, I'm going for the 2-0. This is what I'm going to do. Rame has to play the engine first. Either way, he has to play the engine first here. Because he can't use his leader yet. And he had... Oh, this is going to be so close.
He's doing some maths here, guys. Just give him a chance. There are so many variables here. It hurts not having the artifact.
Yeah, he's got 5, 6, 7 more points on board, 8 more points. So now he has to lead a charge onto the... Yeah. Pick his target. There's nothing that boosts other than giving a leader charge boost. Oh, okay. Gives it to the... He'll give it to the knight, and then the leader charge will double the value on that and proc the grace. So he's finding even more value there. Wait, is he going to do this?
He has to do it fast, though. His time is running out.
I think he needed to click before he did this. Oh, that's a lot of points if he wants to do it. I think he's got enough points to make that work. If he leads a... He's done it. He's actually managed to get out here.
Whoa. Well
but now
done.
has no carryover.
Yeah.
Both of them have Erendite.
Oh my gosh.
I genuinely wasn't convinced he was getting out there.
Oh dear gosh. Who's gonna get Erendite value? Who's going to, have a shield on the board?
Okay, Erendite's a slightly bigger Erendite for REDRAME, but...
It's vastly bigger if you take the shield into account. Though,
wait.
PAJABOL deny
oh my God.
it.
Doesn't Rame win this? No, Rame loses this by 5, damn. I think, no. This is oh God, it's going to be a 6-all draw. This is a 6-all draw. The way this plays out is it's a... I'm wrong, Rame wins this. Watch REDRAME win this game. The shield reprocs. The Erendite is useless. The Erendite is useless. It's a 0.
Yeah.
And Rame wins with the leader charge. No, it is the 6-all draw because he's got last say.
No.
I was right the first time. It's a 6-all draw.
Well, a mirror match seems to give mirror results. The age-old question has not been answered. It would appear.
Had to be a 6-all draw unless they played it wrong, and they didn't play it wrong. And that is a 6-all draw. Let's go again.
Yeah, let's do it.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Yep.
That is rough. The Erendite was always going to be awkward for Pyre because there was no second unit, which was amazing for REDRAME. Even though the spores existed, the consistent shielding made Pyre's Erendite completely redundant. The carryover obviously helped him the other side. Oh boy. So it is now 2-0 still. It is now 2-0. We replay this game all over again. Same coins, same decks, absolutely everything, but how will it play out this time? Draws always get replayed in knockout format.
Yeah, so this does not count as a win or a loss. It counts as a let's do this again game. Exact same coins, exact same decks. I'm curious to see if they're going to play this differently now the second time. That was honestly very interesting.
Rame would have liked not to be 2 cards down, for sure.
Yes.
The fact that he manages to... Or he lost the opening round, right? Which is awkward, but... And having to commit the Gerhardt in that round and then not winning it was really awkward for Rame, I think. Because the reset value that it can provide if it sticks on the board for a turn, which in this matchup it does, probably, in his defense, trades for more points than the Heatwave might. in certain round lengths with the boosts of the cards.
Yeah.
This is going to be interesting. This is going to be very, very interesting.
I have a feeling both are going to reconsider some things now. We might have to wait a few seconds before they go back into the game.
They are now actively I think they just need a breather, honestly. They just need some time to... and that's understandable, right? Bear in mind, both of these players have been playing all weekend. Okay? Paya just came from a best-of-5 series against Coperton and had literally 5 minutes in between these series. REDRAME had a little bit longer, but probably only 30 after also a long series against Pepe Smile. Will the hands be different this time? Oh, the Heatwave is available for Paya straight away.
Yeah, as obviously rather problematic, has access to quite a bit of things. Let's see how this one ends up being different. We'll see. I think it will depend on draws, to be fair, because both players know exactly what they want to do with their cards. It's all about drawing the cards you need when you need them. Currently, REDRAME has access to Amphibious Assault. Lady of the Lake will provide him with a Neuromancy. PAJABOL, on the other hand, not so much. Has access to Erendite. Has access to all the cards he'll need. Interestingly enough, you don't want to play all those cards in round 1. That could have an effect on how long he goes here, because you don't want to throw away Heatwave round 1. You don't want to throw away your Artifact round 1. Erendite's going to be rather useless round 1. And you don't have access to Amphibious Assault, nor a Neuromancy, nor Lady of the Lake. So that could play a role here.
It could. Difficult for Paya here. He cannot answer Immortals this round. He doesn't have an Immortals, he doesn't have a Sorceress, and as you pointed out, can't get either of them to counter REDRAME's versions. If REDRAME can stick them, which he probably can, he can either get the Heatwave, and we've seen Paya very willing to Heatwave and Immortals in round 1. In this mirror before, against Coperton, decided it was the value choice. That could be huge for REDRAME here, if he takes that option.
It could very well be. So we see him starting off with the Squire, gives it an immediate boost to prevent PAJABOL from having any Erendite value. PAJABOL simply can't just use Amphibious Assault to get ahead here either. He's going to actually struggle with that Erendite brick, and that might make a big difference. He's definitely thinking about his options here.
It's not a great opening hand for Paya at all here.
No.
Is that the scenario?
I knew it. I knew it. I knew he was considering it.
He has gone full aggressive. He knows the value of winning round 1 here, and REDRAME will be looking at that going, that gives you a lot of information about your opponent's hand. If a player like Paya is dropping that turn 1 here, he knows he wants to win round 1. That is huge, because he knows there's no punish. It's a massive decision to play into this round, though.
Yeah.
His hand is awful. Awful's probably... No, it is pretty bad. He could have just dropped Bronze Soldiers and passed out of the round, but he knows how important it is to be aggressive in this matchup.
The thing is, now he and REDRAME are both basically on even terms. Both of them are not going to have Artifact in round 2, let's put it like that, because REDRAME is just going to get Heatwaved. So you have to ask yourself, what does PAJABOL have at this point? He's probably going to try and grow his Erendite. He's gonna...
It's gotta be Immortals, right? Oh, he's trade... Oh, no. Okay.
Why are you doing that, REDRAME?
Okay.
REDRAME!
If he'd gone... I think if he doesn't Heatwave... And this is interesting from Paya, because now he doesn't need to Heatwave it. Now he can save the Heatwave and kill the Immortals anyway.
Oh my gosh, I love this so much. Okay.
This is completely different. When we say... So, well, Gwent always plays out the same way, right? Absolutely not. This match could not be any further from the previous series we just saw, and we are only 2 cards in each.
Now, I'm curious. Without Heatwaving the scenario, REDRAME still gets ahead here. I mean, he still has what PAJABOL does not have, which is Amphibious Assault, as well as a Neuromancy, I believe. So... yeah, I'm curious to see whether this pays off for PAJABOL.
Yeah, he'll definitely want to win this round. Both of them are relying on Maiden Shield and the Immortals package, but that could backfire. Even if Paya Heatwaves the Immortals on the other side, it could just open up his own Immortals to be being stolen, effectively. Very, very interesting.
There's so many options here.
Yeah. He has to spread his boosts. The heat wave could always be the Achilles heel for REDRAME here to lose this round, going all the way down on even and taking the carryover. We saw something to this effect. Could be really dangerous. Look at the amount of value that scenario just absolutely spews. It is terrifying how good that thing is.
Still, it was not enough to get Erendite to tick. It's the small things that are adding up here in the next rounds, at least. Squire, though, is going to play for a bit, and we see Vandergrift coming down there for carryover. It's probably going to trigger, though.
Yes, it probably will. Yeah, you're right. It probably will trigger here.
Yeah, so there is a very good chance that it's not going to have resilience in round 2, but it is going to retain its infused, meaning it's going to remain an engine in the upcoming round, which is not bad at all.
It could be a lot worse. And Rame doesn't have a pass here by 1. He has 7 points passively, and Paya has 6, if my calculations are right. And he would need that to be slightly more than this, so he does have to commit another card here to stay in this. Sets himself up another engine to keep all of this ticking. With every additional engine on the board, it's not just more points, but it's more calculation your opponent has to do as well. Obviously, these are the best of the best, so they're used to it, but the point stands.
It certainly does, and when these grace abilities trigger on Rame's side, it's going to make for a lot of points with the scenario. On Pajabol's end, you have 2 cards that still need to trigger its grace, which we'll play for some point. There we go. Leader ability used, and Erendite gets its tick. That's quite a bit of points right now, as both are even.
Yeah, it really is. Ooh, you kind of want to play a unit here if you're REDRAME to the right of your melee row, so you get that extra value. But you don't want to give it as the damn sorceress. That card has just become incredibly important here. Could have decided to use the Pella, but you want to wait another turn to get rid of Vandergrift completely. AA here instead is pretty great. Is he going to go for... It's not going to be Maiden Shield. I think his own Vandergrift would make a lot of sense here. Honestly.
I would respect Vandergrift, for sure. There we go.
There it is.
Very nice. Now at least both players get their carryover into round 2. Though Pajabol's carryover does have the infused ability, making it tick more. Okay, Pajabol, your move. You've got Champion's Charge, you've got Markham Ale, you've got an Erendite that's not all that great, I assume. I can't actually access it. And you have your Heat Wave, which could do some damage.
Yeah. But the trade of the Heat Wave is also pretty big. You know you don't need it for scenario anymore, and if you both find your Immortals, it's fine. Scary, though. Potentially. If he uses it, he wins this round. And he wins this round on even. But is it worth doing? He's behind by 12, but the extra tick of engine value effectively would already make that redundant, so he can just play bronzes here if he really wants to. He says, delete wave it is. What does Rame do now? Because he would have assumed it wasn't there. He would have not been expecting it because he let the scenario live, I think.
Yeah. Interesting. Very interesting. I wonder if it would have been better to use it on the scenario sooner, or if that was the more optimal play with Ventalum. I'm curious.
Point-wise, honestly, I couldn't even do the maths. I think the scenario was probably more, but then it's a turn your own engines aren't set up, so you'd have to factor that in.
Yeah.
Plus, it's a difficult one. But even just by dropping a single bronze there, he goes from 10 to 12 points behind to 7 ahead very, very easily. That Pella being able to get rid of all of the Vandergrift at the end of this turn is going to be really nice for REDRAME as well, albeit slow.
You like how Tia pronounces Ventalum? That's because it's a Dutch/German name, so I have the right to pronounce it in that manner.
He's an Arthurian knight of the realm called Windhelm.
Ventalum.
Not Dutch or German, Windhelm.
Ventalum.
Honestly.
Why would you... Oh, you think it
They're
means...
Arthurian knights from, like, the Knights of the Round Table. And Windhelm.
Dit is Ventalum.
There's no A. Windhelm.
Ventalum. Okay,
Oh, boy, and
I'll
Ryan's
do some
prepared,
research. I'll do some research after this.
They're definitely based on it's either way. And we see there, we do see exactly as expected, the perfectly timed Pella. Somewhere Specimen is cheering, unusual for an Everton fan. He sees the double value on that Pella, multi-round carryover, deleted.
German in chat. Well,
Yeah,
I am
if it were
Afrikaans.
German, then it would be Windhelm, yes, but he's not German.
He's Afrikaans now. I've gained the
Oh, God.
authority over his name.
I see.
Okay, fine. I'll for now I'll put it up. Wikipedia will be the will be the deciding factor here, but
I would love to be able to see how much that erudite is right now. I think it's at least 5 or 6.
I think it's
could be higher.
I think it is 5. It was 4 the last time they went over it. I think we have 1 turn in between. I think it's like 5.
REDRAME, you've got to trade this for whatever it is you're trading this, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you know you're getting ahead. You're either losing on even now, or you're losing on even, potentially trading up. Yes, good decision. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
Yeah, Rame needs to continue this.
Oh, not sure I'd have procced that one. But it is technically 1 more point, but now he doesn't get it going into round 3. It's +6. Which actually means I don't think it's sufficient for PAJABOL. PAJABOL has 2, 4, 5, 6, 7 points. So he's on 118. He would have to give up his entire leader to win on even here.
And is that worth doing is the question.
Apparently so, because it only just does it as well. He has given up his leader to win on even, but he is taking no carryover.
That's the problem, and that is the big deciding factor here. Rame is taking Ventallum into the next round. Ooh. Both artifacts have been used. Heatwave is out of the game. Interestingly, Spores is being shuffled away.
Yeah, it's risky in the short. Oh boy.
This is looking very similar to the last game, and I don't like it.
And he plays and kills. That's sensible. I see that. I get that. Ooh, okay.
This is looking good.
So
for
now
Rame.
that's going to feed points to Pyre here. But it doesn't get him ahead if he plays it. It's first AA for PAJABOL, remember, not second. So he has got access to his own. Oh, does he play his own Immortals here? Surely not.
No. Decides to go with Squire, potential carryover.
Are you going to take... So REDRAME has full leader. He can afford to mirror here and be very happy. This is pretty nice for REDRAME here. This is going to deploy and play, but he doesn't have to give all that much right now, and he can take the 2 points of carryover with him.
His Erendite is also looking vastly superior. His Erendite's very much capable of taking round 3 if things go well here.
And he may as well take it now because he's guaranteeing himself the draw of it. Doesn't take it.
Decides to thin instead.
Himself.
Yeah, gets rid of something.
Okay.
Yeah, Thor out of the game. Alright.
That's going to be interesting. Pyre now has his guaranteed AA, but nothing else. REDRAME. Oh. This is going to be close. This is going to be really close because he took the carryover points as well from the Squire. And no leader ability for PAJABOL here, hence leaving his and just leaving this engine protected. I think that is going to be a pretty quick delete, though. If I were REDRAME, I would be considering whether I just got rid of it right now.
It depends what you want with patience, but that's exactly what he does. Oh, beautiful. That's looking really good.
And if he uses the leader charge, which he can, at will, the Gerhardt, it will proc the Bronwyn next turn. Bronwyn can boost Gerhardt itself before he clicks it, and he'll get double value on that as well. This is looking very good for REDRAME, bucking potentially the trend here of blue coin players losing this matchup.
Why are blue coin players losing this match? Oh, sorry, you used an English word. I don't
Yeah, sorry, he was bucking. Yeah,
Bucking.
So far, it had been the opposite, and that is huge. He is not out of it yet, chap.
Well played. Absolutely well
2-1,
played.
and we keep going.
Wow.
In the end, honestly, in that first series for that game, I honestly thought it was 3-0. I was very surprised that he managed to pull that out to get a draw. Gerhardt, the Gerhardt decision looked like it paid off there. No heat wave. I am curious. Like, PAJABOL's hand in round 1 was really difficult, really rough.
Yeah.
And that was one of the worst hands he could have had. The fact that he decided not to use the heat wave on the scenario, was it better or worse? He got a 22, maybe you could argue with Engine, 26-point heat wave at the end of the round. Was the more points in the scenario over the course of 9 turns? Who knows? Who knows? But he still won that round on even either way, so I don't even think you could argue that was the decision-making thing. Just such a horrible hand, one would imagine, right?
Exactly. Yeah, PAJABOL was placed in a pretty bad position there with his round 1 hand, and he had to play entirely differently because of it. I respect the fact that he... Yes?
You muted for me briefly, but you're back, don't worry.
Alright, he had to go for the artifact. He decided he needed to do so. It wasn't enough to really get his Arrow Knight anywhere. Didn't use Heatwave on Rame's Arrow Knight, which is questionable. I personally would have done that if he was going to use it anyway on Windhelm. And I think that could have played out a little bit differently, but either way, both players were feeling out each other's cards. Rame wasn't aware that PAJABOL didn't draw his, and neither is PAJABOL aware whether Rame has his in hand. So it is what it is. PAJABOL still has 2 chances to take through his Northern Realms list here. He's going to have it on blue coin now, which is obviously his best chance, I'd say. Rame has the option of taking Nilfgaard on red or Squirtle on red. I think he'd go for Nilfgaard. What do you think, Lionheart?
I agree with you entirely. As we discussed, 2-0 up, PAJABOL is happy. Rame getting that Northern Realms list through now, even though his lineup doesn't run heat waves for this NR list, he now has the coin queue selection as he likes. He is now going to queue Nilfgaard into this Northern Realms list on his favored coin when he wants it. It is definitely a winnable matchup for him in that way round. And then he has his Scoia'tael list as well, which certainly can win that matchup, especially with the NR list on its unfavored coin in the non-mirror. So it is amazing how quickly a potential 3-0 looks like it could be a reverse sweep. Who knows? You're going to reverse sweep PAJABOL, you better bring your S game, because honestly, that is not going to be easy. Rame probably weighing up what he wants to do here. I would be very surprised if it wasn't his Nilfgaard list, but I've been surprised before, so who knows?
I hope it's Nilfgaard.
And it is.
It's Nilfgaard, thank gosh. Alright. Well, let's see how this goes. This is arguably PAJABOL's best chance on taking this through on this coin.
I agree.
Yeah, blue coin. He has a good hand from the get-go, has a Neuromancy ready, has his artifact Heatwave, has everything he needs here. And so does Rame. So this is going to be interesting for sure.
Yes, it is. I love watching this. I absolutely love watching this. Honestly, the very best players. It's amazing to see REDRAME back. I always default expect PAJABOL to win every single series he's in, because he is just... He's that good. He is that good, and this has been fantastic so far. This is technically game 4, but actually game 5. Oh boy, we are being treated today, huh?
Oh yeah, this has been a long series, but I honestly can't complain. This is very fun to watch. Just the best players in their elements. It's sort of like watching the Masters when you have players like REDRAME versus PAJABOL. It brings back good memories.
Very true. Very true. Now, PAJABOL does have a much more amenable hand here, and he will be aware of his options. Can open with something like the Immortals, but doesn't necessarily want to. We've seen him regularly open with a Squire and just protect it. Certainly a possibility for him here. Goes straight into his Neuromancy by the look of it, and does take that Immortals option, which is curious. He does have his Pella as protection, because you can never veil that, of course. I think all of us Be honest with me now, chat. We've all done it. We've failed that before, thinking we were smart, and then realized it can't gain the shield anymore and doesn't get the boost. Come on. You know you did it. Own up. Tell me in chat that you've done it. Tell me in chat that you've done it. Come on.
No, everybody tell him you've never done it. It's just him who has done it.
There's no way that was just me, okay? There's no way that was just me.
Yeah.
I refuse to believe this.
Well, to be fair, I never start off with Immortals in round 1, so I haven't had the chance, you see. In that way, I am superior.
I see. And modest as well. Excellent.
The most.
Oh.
Yeah, no, let's hope PAJABOL doesn't do that by accident, but I think he's fine here. Rame not locking it though. Rame simply not going for the lock. I mean, he has Igni, to be fair. He also, he's going for some soldier plays here that I didn't... Well, yeah, obviously was the mage. Yes.
Yeah.
Still,
and
that
honestly,
gives bleeding
they're
now.
so strong now. Yes, it does, which will really, really help line up the potential Igni if he really wanted it. Instead, the beauty of Create, anything you can do, I can just steal effectively. Nilfgaard 101. You love to see it. And Rame will be pretty happy in the position he's in, just ahead. And that spy, really well placed, because it interrupts what PAJABOL wanted to do. He wanted to put a Knight Errant in between the two of them and protect that instead. He still plays it there. He's looking to give the boost.
So we see the bleeding coming down there. Interesting target there. Decided to go for the sorceress with that 1 charge of bleeding. I wonder if that was specifically done in such a way. Obviously, you don't want to target the Immortals with the shield. Probably looking for more targets now, but it's going to be difficult because you can't get rid of the spy, or else you're going to just, you know, end up not disrupting that synergy like you're doing so excellently right now. Oh, and that's beautiful. Assimilate doing its thing right there. Going to get more points as it stands. Yeah, it's just targeting that same card over and over again.
He is indeed very, very keen to keep that down, not allow it to boost. Honestly, Rame here, nice and aggressive, as you want to be on red coin in this situation, but we see Paya say, no, I will delete this, and even though something might go taller, the value that he is losing from that is absolutely massive. We'll feel very happy that he has this engine on again.
Yeah, interesting play there with the heat wave, though I don't think you'd really get many other options to use it against Nilfgaard, so I respect the play right there. Now he can use his own sorceress engine once again, unless it is locked. And as you see, the goal is to take it out eventually.
It is indeed.
If that's the case, will we see Pallor being played right now?
Pella is slow but viable, honestly. Yeah. I don't hate a Pella here because you're getting rid of bleeding value. Decides no, he's just going to play the other one instead. Honestly, I get it. That's not terrible, and it switches another one of his engines on. Not the end of the world here, actually.
It does make sense. A REDRAME can lock it now, but then the Pallor could be played, and it's going to be rather difficult to counter that. PAJABOL is going into dangerous territory once again. He's going towards his artifact as well as his maiden shield, which is problematic. It's not necessarily something you want to play around 1. And REDRAME's Igni is looking pretty juicy. It would be nice though if he could somehow get those cards to line up. I mean, if you just kind of allow the Knight to keep on boosting itself until it reaches the same point of the Immortals, that could be interesting.
Certainly an option. Ooh, he probably takes the Renfrey here, yeah. Even though he'd used his leader ability, you can just grab this now for all the carryover, but he is roping pretty heavily, having to make this decision fast.
Oh gosh.
And we end up with cooldown and uses it. Okay, REDRAME knows he's got this again, doesn't get any other passive.
I think REDRAME is very happy. I feel like PAJABOL already lost this. Nothing is payable. This is just, oof, this is a difficult position to be in, is all I want to say. It's a Knights losing round 1 against Nilfgaard is
not ideal.
They're going to get abused.
But the scenario can just make the bleed really awkward, knowing there's no direct answer to it. It depends on that round 3, assuming we get there, because REDRAME knows he has to win that round. An uneven is obviously ideal. Knows that if he doesn't, he is going to get abused by that scenario into round 2 and possibly get 2-0. So far, so good. But going into an 8-card round with all of the options of those Echo cards, I think Paya still has a fighting chance here. It depends on how much value this cursed Igni finds, I think.
Absolutely. It's going to he's going to have to rely on not stacking his cards in such a way that Igni gets its points. Then again, yeah, Rain still has Triss at his disposal, which isn't currently in hand, though.
No, it's not. Okay. The Spotter, interesting choice.
Yeah, Spotter now works differently, and we do see the scenario coming out. Makes sense doing that as early as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rain doesn't have the best of hands, which I think is exactly what he wants. Just bleed.
Low value Erendite as well. Not great here for PAJABOL. It's only at 5 and it's not growing anytime soon. The second stage of the Knight scenario is one of its weaknesses because it doesn't give you any tempo in that specific turn in a way that some of the others do start adding, unless you proc Grace in that turn as well. So quite slow for PAJABOL, but I think he's aware that REDRAME knows that it's okay to keep bleeding here. There's a lot more that he wants out. He's very happy to trade average bronze cards and threaten threaten Triss, and get away with it, I think. So REDRAME can just keep pushing. He wants more rounds as well, so that he can get that leader back.
This is really awkward for PAJABOL. That's a lot of cards. You don't really want to commit right now, especially with Amphibious and Oneiromancy being undoomed already. But Rain passes. He's happy with having the artifact out on the board. Very interesting. I wasn't expecting a pass at all.
Now what does he decide to get rid of? Because if he procs... Windhelm is playing for the scenario proc, so that's going to be 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, oh, he takes the Anero instead, plays the carryover, which makes sense. Should play it to the... Okay, just lost himself a point there, but it doesn't matter effectively. Didn't matter. He's absolutely okay.
Interesting.
All right. There is plenty of points still up for grabs here. Plenty of points up for grabs here.
Alright, so Rain needs to draw Triss, and he does not yet have it, which could become a problem. Oh, and he does draw it. Very talented. That's going to be make a big difference in the outcome of this. Igni as well. I see Spores is being shuffled away.
Yeah.
Pallor doesn't help that much.
No, the locks are already gone. You know there aren't so... Wait, that grabs you the Erendite. Okay, never mind. I thought that was bricked then very briefly. That Erendite only sitting at 6, 7, I guess. So it will grow quite a lot in this round. Could end up being very, very valuable in the right moment.
In his hand.
Oh, he's got nothing left. It is a brick. Never mind. Because he used the Anero. That is a dead card.
Oof. Yeah, this is not looking good for PAJABOL at all.
It is a brick. Oh, that's not what you're looking for if you're PAJABOL here, no. But we have seen how quickly Knights can scale. It is possible. It is possible. With a brick as well, that is not ideal.
It's not. It's
especially when he was already a card down.
Oh no, this is not looking great, but yeah, let's see. So REDRAME's going to stack his entire melee row for Triss. He's going to play for loads of points. He's going to use Igni the moment he can get the most points out of it. If he can align 2 engines when they're still small, he will do that. But PAJABOL knows the biggest card is going to get killed by Igni if he's not careful. Yeah, he's gonna have to be careful here. He also wants to stay ahead as long as he can so that Erendite can increase in value. But that brick is just terrible. That's such a bad brick.
Yeah, it's really not great for him there at all. But he has to take the mulligan as well. He's already a card down. He has to fish. And the Pella just simply isn't good enough. The Spores probably would have been, well, was the best of the options in the end, as it turns out. Would have traded for at least 8 points, I think. But it's, yeah, assuming the Triss came down early enough with the cards that are being pulled, it might have been worth just keeping the Spores. But he's looking to fish. He's looking to find a little bit more value than that. And it just got worse and worse, unfortunately. That Lady of the Lake there. Unusual for it to brick, in all honesty. But this is unfortunately one of those times for PAJABOL.
Yeah, not ideal. Okay, we see the spotter coming out right now. It's an alright spotter. Okay, PAJABOL, what are we going for here? You want to make sure that you get the most out of Bronwyn at this point. You want to use your Maiden Shield effectively and carefully, I'd say.
Yeah. And there is the first boost. And he has to make sure that he doesn't play into Igni wherever possible, right? So one of the reasons that didn't go onto the Ranger O, for example, it would have potentially started lining up at the wrong moment. So makes perfect sense here. No scenario, so the Grace abilities aren't proccing anything around you. Therefore, you don't have to worry about them quite as much with their placement, but that Igni is going to be pretty savage, given that you want to row stack, you want to like boost stack with Bronwyn.
Yeah.
It is definitely an uphill battle. Honestly, even if there isn't a brick in his hand, this is a very, very tough ask, considering the options in REDRAME's both hand, leader ability, and just has 2 more cards as well.
Is this look? Yeah. Well, anyway. Yeah, so we're just gonna see Rame probably go for, yeah, the 4P slave guy over and over again, trying to make as many Nausicaa Sergeants as possible. Getting the Imperial Formation along with it. Going to stack them onto the Melero in order to get the most out of Triss. You see Arturi is being played on the range row, so you don't accidentally get a 2-point card there on the Melero, taking away from Triss's potential half base power boosts. Alright, already at 34 points. Looking good, but still, PAJABOL has a lot of points left here with his leader ability alone and Bronwyn. He just needs to be very careful how he intends to use it from here on out. Yeah, even the Vandergriff still needs to reach Grace at 12, so that is going to trigger. He can use that with his leader ability. He can potentially even pair it up with Bronwyn if he really wants to. The problem is you have Igni here, making everything so much more difficult. You know your biggest card is just going to lose points.
You do, and it's the scariness of that Igni he's just given is terrifying. Because that is a 30, that's like a 50-point Igni, and that's escape enter, I think, at this point. I was curious about the pairing of them. No, he still plays. Is he genuinely thinking? Is he done this deliberately?
Yeah, he has.
Is he now thinking, I'm going to give you an Igni that isn't as good as you think it is, so I can now super greed? I don't know.
An Igni that isn't as good as you think it is at 30 points.
Well, it was probably at least 10 to 20 better than that, let's be honest, with the engine value it lost.
Yeah.
But he's still, without that brick, he's not that far away here. And the Erendite is still ticking. I mean, I think we already know, because that Triss is a lot of points here. And he's got...
It's... Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Ooh, ouch.
And his engine value is pretty great as well. He's got 5 points a turn of engine, which are all passive. So they will continue to proc for at least 1 extra turn. That leader ability sitting on REDRAME's side is pretty great, though. And the positioning of the... Okay, did he take Destroy or did he take Wrath? I think he took Destroy, which is awkward because it only kills a 3, actually. And it kills nothing with this Erendite if he plays it properly, if it's the Destroy an 8, right? So the leader ability is actually useless. But that doesn't actually matter in
No.
reality, right? Paya is on 82 when this game ends. And I believe Triss Rocks wraps it up, but... yeah, it's closer than it could have been, should have been, would have been. Let's be completely honest here. That is a 4-point win.
That's insane. That is insane.
So close.
That's very impressive. That brick lost him the game. That brick lost PAJABOL the game.
Honestly, if he keeps the original Spores was 5 points more. Spores was 5 points more than the brick.
Yeah, that's insane. That is
and
insane.
And he loses by 4.
PAJABOL played extremely well, given the circumstances there.
It's incredible. He's like, even when you think the position is so poor, the quality of play from these players, like we saw REDRAME pull out a couple of games ago, it had absolutely no right to come back from the position he was in. PAJABOL as well, then, that was alarmingly close considering he's already a card down going in and has a 3-point brick, doesn't tilt. Oh my word. Honestly, the idea that this game is just play your cards and everybody would come up with the same results are pretty crazy. He didn't use the leader because the leader was bricked. Really nicely played. He got Wrath. It's destroy a unit with 8 or less, and there was not a targetable one. Therefore, the leader ability was completely bricked. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, even with that Igni, I mean, can you imagine if he did not line those up, and if Rame struggled to get a good Igni value? That could have thrown the entire game for Rame.
That's the other thing. If he makes sure, because that Igni was worth 40+ points in reality. If he can even make sure just one tall target is Igni'd at 30 points, he wins the game.
Exactly.
As soon as he played it into the melee row, I did one, because you could see as soon as he did it, it was going to even up. I want to, you give him the benefit of the doubt and assume it was, I want you to do it so I don't have to think about it, but here we are. I don't know if that was the case. What I do know is that it is now game technically 6, but let's say 5. Winner takes all for open number 3 placement. You love to see it. You love to see it.
All right, we've got Knights on red. We've got Movement Harmony on blue. So, we still take into account that PAJABOL has Heat Wave, and that is something you should fear. This is going to be very interesting. I think it can be either player's game, looking at the cards right now. PAJABOL did draw Neuromancy this time around, can draw Amphibious Assault with it, so is going to have access to tutors. REDRAME has everything he needs to secure round 1, as always. Doesn't need a stratagem, he just draws the cards. That's what Rame does. So he's got Saskia, he's got Simlas, he's got his artifact already, as well as his Royal Decree, giving him access to pretty much any unit he wants in his deck.
But can he play it the way he wants? This is the thing. They must be, after 2 crazy long days of Gwent, the attention span from this pair is just phenomenal, honestly. And instead of opening Saskia, which would have been my instant traditional option, he is going for Harmony cards here.
I mean, makes sense. I can see that being the case here. He knows PAJABOL is capable of starting with his artifact. He has to take these things into account. And PAJABOL, he could do it. Especially if he wants Erendite value at this point, because he has no choice but to play this list on red coin right now. And in order to get ahead, he's going to have to commit something. Even if it's something as simple as Amphibious Assault.
Maybe. Well, that's why I was expecting the Saskia. The Saskia deploy is minimally an 8. Meaning the likelihood of you being able to get ahead of that is much lower, right? So you're denying a single proc potentially of that of the Erendite. Although he goes a Nero into AA into Immortal, so he's setting up the standard path here, and does get that first proc on the Erendite. My favorite Gwent animation is the in-deck hammer to strengthen that. I love it.
It's true. It's nice seeing something grow in the deck for later. It's very satisfying. The same when you
It is.
actually trigger the owl. I like that as well.
Yes, very true. Very true. So he's not worried about the Erendite growth at all. He's not concerned here, REDRAME, but he's trying to build the engines. Doesn't have much in the way of harmony cards in his hand, though. I'm going to be honest. He does not have a lot. He can proc these. He can even make it so that it is +3 on the Percival right now if he decides to do so, and give himself 4 points a turn whenever he does play anything on deploy.
Not bad at all. Gets to play the artifact finally, getting 3 extra points of that, 1 in the deck as well. Plays Saskia anyway. I love to see it. I was expecting this to happen. It does trigger the harmony again with the dragon tag, so it does what it needs to do.
It does, and the options it can still pull out of the deck. It can still pull out a human, it can still pull out a witcher, and it can still pull out a dryad as well. So there are enough options in deck to make that possible. Could also pull out a chameleon, which would be no. Chameleon's default is a beast until it deploys. The Antherian has protected it, so the chameleon will not pull, at least.
For now.
But you wouldn't hate playing a chameleon in this position, because all of a sudden you now have 4 points a turn of harmony and a Saskia engine.
Yeah, as well as control. So it's going to deny PAJABOL's setup in order to get his grace abilities to tick. Yeah, it's not gonna happen. So we see
Fire can play nice and slow here, right? He doesn't need to go crazy because his engine value is just so good.
REDRAME is adamant on taking this round at all costs, which makes sense. You don't want Northern Realms ever to have round control, as they love playing their artifact around too.
They do. It was an expensive round within reason for REDRAME. Saskia is there to be played in round 1. Built up quite a bit of value on the Owl. Did commit the Percival and one of the Antherians, but I think he'll be content with what he had to commit there. Will he give the Simless into this round 2 push this time? That's my big question. Or is he going to take the risk again? It hurt him last time in this series. Is he going to take a different decision this time? Oh, he's found the poison, though. That could be huge.
It's scary. It's really scary.
Pella, never mind.
Oh gosh, he goes for it. Okay, heat wave immediately in effect. It is what it is, though. You want to push as much as you can here, and I think REDRAME is probably going to end up going all out here.
I agree, and honestly, it makes perfect sense. The Antherian is a good setup. You can now spread your harmony boosts and play other harmony cards by pinging onto the token there. It's going to be tougher now for him to actually get through this round without losing his card, but he needs to push, needs to bleed. He's got to see that scenario, and arguably the Maiden Shield as well, while Paya still plays slowly simply because he can.
Yeah, doesn't need to commit to anything just yet. Can actually hold on to quite a bit for now. REDRAME here is going to have to start placing more harmony cards on the board. Make sure they trigger at the exact moment you want them to. Probably want to play that Dryad Fledgling at some point before going off with the Dwarf and Simlas as the Elf.
Yeah, you'd imagine so. The Antherian, you do this, yeah, that makes perfect sense. Now, all of a sudden, this is playing on 7 on deploy, plus is an engine in its own right. You're giving yourself as much gap as you can. This level of points in 2 cards a year ago would have been a huge amount. In this NR engine deck, it is so simple to grab those points pretty quickly.
Yeah, I think Gwent has quite changed in the amount of points one could get in a very quick turn or 2. Yeah, we can see a huge difference, but it makes for fun gameplay to cast, I can tell you that.
Yeah, doesn't it just?
Alright, so PAJABOL, you have to decide what you want to play here. You need to make sure that when Grace is triggered, you do have an artifact on the board to get maximum amount of points. I don't think you are really worried that Rame is going to run away with this round, so I get that you'd rather play a bit slower and not commit too much. But here we do see it. Yeah.
Here it comes the scenario. I guess at this point it kind of makes sense because the gap is doable because of engines, and if he doesn't drop the engines, He has to respect this moment, right? And I think he's confident that if he got the pass now, he would catch up in a single card, not be too affected, simply because he could drop something like a Squire and be okay. And into that kind of mid to long length round, he's still got enough left with the minimal control to be okay. So I think it's fine from PAJABOL here, because he knows it either survives and he keeps his card, or he plays one more card and gets out.
Exactly. It's quite simple, straightforward here for PAJABOL. I don't think he's too worried here. I'm curious to see REDRAME committing Simless here, because I think he's going to end up doing so.
I think you might be right. I think he either has to commit Milver or Simless, because it was when he had all of them left that it really hurt him, because he drew all 3 of them, and of course that with only 2 mulligans guarantees you a brick, which is very painful. Simless can be amazing into that short round slam, there's no question, but the additional 2 bricks are always a risk.
That is the problem, and we did see that brick earlier today with the Mulva draw. So it could happen. It could happen. And Vandergriff coming out for carryover value. Definitely nice to see, though. Is it going to stick is the question.
Look at it. Yes, very true. Well, I'd imagine so. Well, the scary thing is, there is the poison, but the Pella exists. He threatens this now, because of course purifying it, ironically... Oh, I forgot that movement pulls that out. I always forget that movement, because you caused it, pulls Milver. There is a way to kill it right now. PAJABOL will be licking his lips with that in hand.
I mean, it's very tempting, and I see no reason not to, unless you are considering Pella, that is.
The Pella Purify, that's the thing. You have to take the Pella Purify here unless you are banking on the fact that he doesn't have the backup poison. So you have to just let REDRAME get away with this, I think. I don't think you could afford to do anything about it as PAJABOL. It would be a huge risk if he does not Purify here. He's got to play the Pella, hasn't he?
I mean, unless you think REDRAME is bluffing. That is something REDRAME would do.
Yeah. Oh, that's huge. That is absolutely massive here. He gets away with both. He keeps Milver, and he can finish the poison here.
Interesting.
And REDRAME doesn't do anything about it. He also doesn't transition this poison. I feel like... I feel like I'm missing something here.
I'm just trying to figure out sort of... I'm viewing it now from an outside perspective, because it's difficult to cost exactly what they're trying to do here.
And okay, both of them are completely fine with this poison existing. They have absolutely no concern here. We see the Erendite. This is going to be a lot of points. I'm pretty sure he's been ahead enough. See this Erendite play for... Oh, it's actually only 4. You want to keep the leader ability to move onto the melee row. And it's the carryover value as well here. You've got to want to get rid of this. Yeah. So you can do that. You can leader it to the front row. And then Simless push here and get everything from Paya, potentially.
That's what I'm thinking.
And you're proccing 4 points of harmony by playing this Treant right now. And he plays the Simless first as well. If we see...
Okay.
Which means he doesn't want to play it. This is wild.
Perhaps he was just bluffing. It's a possibility.
Now we will see who is weak.
Interesting.
This is the decider. This is game 6 in our best of 5 after a draw.
Oh, it's too late. You had your chance, REDRAME. You didn't take it.
I need to understand. I need to understand the decision. I have to find out why that wasn't used, because REDRAME now can't even play this and get the double value, right? Because it's an order ability on the melee row. It's deploy on the range row. A turn ago, he could have played this Weeping Willow, but then not play the Simless, right?
He was
That is
going
such
to
a-
play it anyway. I don't get why he didn't poison.
Like 3 turns ago, that was so many more points. That was another 9, 10, 11, 12, 30. That was 15 more points 2 turns ago if you use the leader ability. He does. Does he get the extra card here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He either gets the... Nope, he doesn't get it and keeps Maiden Shield. That could be huge there. And I think it will be huge here. The Erendite coming back into hand, I think, now only at 5. But keeps the carryover, keeps the Maiden Shield, keeps the leader ability, and keeps the card there. That is basically the dream round 2 for PAJABOL. Nice. Oh, actually, no, without last say, the Owl is just going all the way back down. It is not strengthened like Regis, it is boost.
I mean, he could just have poisoned the card then. I don't get it. I mean,
I honestly don't get it either.
it makes no sense. The no carryover, and PAJABOL would have had to play his last card. I don't get it at all. It doesn't make sense. I think it's a massive misplay, and REDRAME just threw.
Possibly.
Yeah.
I would say so. Yeah, Paya is in dreamland here. This might be one of the best series. I mean, it's so yeah.
I'm sorry, that was a throw if I've ever seen one. I'm sure that there was obviously logic to what he did. There's a reason he did it, but yeah, from our perspective, knowing what each player had in hand, it just didn't make sense.
No, it didn't, and I'm very surprised we didn't see it. And Paya, after 6 games, it's very, very unusual if you go back through qualifiers to see someone lose the upper bracket final and then book a place in the open. But PAJABOL has done it. REDRAME came so close, and I think if he takes that poison, he might not guarantee him the win, but it's a lot. I think he's a lot better off. Either way, it is PAJABOL and Kerperton going through tier.
I mean, GG, well played, excellent games. I mean, these players were like hand in hand. That's why we had a series of 5 with Kerperton and PAJABOL, and we had a draw with PAJABOL and REDRAME making it a series of 6. Still, it was great. It's great to cast. It was interesting to watch.